Good day, everybody. 2 hours late. 2 hours and 5 minutes late. 5 minutes or six? 4. 2 hours and 4 minutes late. Okay. Sorry. Buyer beware. Chapter 17. Weeding out Mr. Wrong in Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider's books all the rules. Right now, we are on 1847 morsels of a thought. Hopefully, that we can learn the right things to do because knowing the right things to do is a form of wisdom. Taking the action to do it is virtue. So, we're bringing more virtue into the world with the help of people like Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider, the authors of All the Rules, which started out as 2 books. All the rules started off as 2 books, The Rules and The Rules 2. The Rules was time tested secrets for capturing the heart of Mr. Right, and the Rules 2 were more rules to live by. No, more rules to live and love by. So I'm reading from chapter 17, which is in the second half of this book, which is how thick this book is, as you can see. And oh, I'm yawning because I overslept. I'm so sorry. Oh my god. I'm thinking about. Ugh. Okay, chapter 17, Buyer Beware. Weeding out Mr. Wrong. The rules are not about marrying the first man you are attracted to who calls you by Wednesday for Saturday night and buys you flowers. It's about marrying your own personal Mr. Right, a man whom you love and whose character you admire and can live with. Now, there is a lot to be said about why you're going out with a person. You choose based on your desire and standards. Excuse me. And if you find yourself, if you have to watch yourself. Am I dating this guy because he's really a nice guy? Or truth be told, would it be something like something we'll see in here later? Love may be blind, but rules girls are not stupid. In addition to doing the rules, you should be observing his behavior in various situations to decide if he's right for you. You may want to keep notes in the rules dating journal to keep track of what he says and how he acts in his relationship with you. Well, the rules dating journal is this one. And for example, is he a man of his word or does he promise and not deliver? Oh, that feels so bad to read that. Does he speak does he speak badly about people or tell horrible stories about ex-girlfriends? Is he cheap on dates? Is he critical of you? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, goodness gracious. Does he drink or smoke too much? Is he rude to waiters? If either of you has been married before, how does he treat his children or your children? It's easy to ignore certain behavior, but if it's written down in black and white, you will see a pattern emerge and not be able to lie to yourself or sweep it under the rug. Now, they're talking about what's in this book. When you write in there, you have to take what you write seriously. So remember, don't skip any important details. Okay. Mm, Don't think, don't marry thinking you will change this kind of behavior. People don't usually change that much. We believe that anything you didn't, ugh. Well, okay, a leopard doesn't change his spots. We believe that anything you don't like about the man you marry was there. when you were dating him, you just didn't really think about it seriously or told yourself you didn't mind. A woman we know who followed the rules called us one day to say Mr. Right had proposed. We were thrilled, but we quickly got suspicious when she told us that 6 months had passed and he still hadn't committed to a wedding date. Still, she too felt something was wrong, but she really wanted to marry this man. We advised her to try to pin him down on a date. When she did, he admitted that he was back with his ex-girlfriend. If something doesn't feel right to you about a man, it probably isn't. If you don't want to be miserable and full of regrets later on, you have to pay attention now. Rules girls don't sleep at the wheel. No, rules girls take a very active role in choosing Mr. Right. At first glance, the rules may seem like passive dating. Let him call you, let him ask you out, let him pick you up, let him do all the work. In terms of the chase, that's certainly true. But we are also telling women to actively evaluate a man's character and behavior. Did he call when he said he'd call? Did he remember your birthday? Hmm. A rules girl is always carefully observing his behavior and taking notes. This is active, not passive dating. When we told you to, quote, be quiet and mysterious, not ladylike, and excuse me, act ladylike and cross your legs and smile, and don't talk so much on the first few dates, end quote, we did not mean that you shouldn't think. We told you this for two reasons. A, so you don't tell him your whole life story too soon and live to regret it. And equally important, B, so you listen. The less you talk, the more you can hear and pick up clues if he's right for you. Sometimes a woman is so anxious to get married to a man she is attracted to, a man who is chasing her thanks to the rules, that she blocks out traits she doesn't like about him. She hopes that love and marriage will change him in time. We say maybe, maybe not. It's true that former Playboy types lose interest in the club scene when they meet a rules girl and become fond of changing diapers when they have a child. But we also say what you see is what you get. So don't count on a man changing. Now we're reading from chapter 17 in All the Rules. That's in the second half of the book, which was formerly called The Rules 2. It started off as The Rules 2 when the authors first wrote The Rules, and this came out as the very first book. And this turned into a worldwide success. So women were writing questions and questions and questions, and finally they had to come up with a second book to answer all the questions. So this is a bunch of answers to a bunch of questions. So chapter 17. Let's look at some specific dilemmas you might be facing. Dilemma number 1. You're amazed and impressed by his sophistication with alcohol. He puts away countless gin and tonics without a problem, and you're charmed by the way he orders the best bottle of wine at romantic restaurants. But after reading this chapter, you remember that most of the time you had mineral water and he gladly drank the whole bottle. Buyer beware. Love won't change an addiction. And heavy drinking isn't charming. When you have kids to support and he's throwing money away at bars, or you are the designated driver after every party, you if you think he drinks too much, don't marry him unless he agrees to seek help, and has stopped drinking for at least a year. It's good for him and it's good for you. Wow. Dilemma number 2. You think you've found Mr. Right.
except that he'd rather read the newspaper or work on the computer than have sex with you most work nights and even Sunday mornings. Now that you're reading this chapter, you remember that he was always a little too intellectual for your taste. You wished he were more passionate, not so cerebral. Buyer beware, this will be a problem in your marriage if sex and passion are important to you. Dilemma number 3. He's very good looking, personable, and a ton of fun, but not as deep as you would like him to be. You are a serious reader. You tend to be analytical, and you are into yoga and meditation. He likes action sports such as tennis and basketball. You want to have soulful discussions. He's more pragmatic. Buyer beware. This will be a problem if you like to have philosophical conversations with your mate. Just know that he may ask you just know that he may ask you to have breakfast with him or play tennis when you're in the middle of yoga or meditating. Dilemma number 4. He's into a whirlwind courtship. He calls you day and night and proposes after a month or two. You think he's a little impulsive, but you're also thrilled. Buyer beware. If you allow yourself to get caught up in a whirlwind romance and move at his speed, you may live to regret it. You need to pace the relationship, to wait and allow yourself time to observe his behavior in many different situations before you make such a serious commitment. Otherwise, you may find out after you're married that he's a womanizer, gambler, emotionally immature, in deep financial debt, or has a criminal past. By then, it might be too late. So, um, there's something also that I've noticed is that there are some people who get married, even though they say, oh, he never gets angry. I have never seen him angry. Buyer beware about that too. Beware the wrath of an angry man. Beware the wrath of a patient man. Beware the wrath of a patient man. That's a saying. I don't remember who said it though. Dilemma number 5. He's exciting and debonair, but he has a dark side. You've heard him scream at his family, his friends, and even business associates. Buyer beware, he may yell or be violent toward you or your children. Dilemma number 6. He loves you, but is often a drop annoyed by your close girlfriends, your family, and any man who pays too much attention to you. He gets angry if you don't tell him everything or include him in everything. Buyer beware. While it's flattering to be the center of a man's attention as opposed to being ignored, know that you might have fights about his level of involvement in your day to day activities. Hmm. Narcissists, control freaks, they don't make it past the rules if you pay attention. Sometimes the problem is not his character, but circumstances, such as dilemma number 7. You love him, but he's much older than you, divorced, and a devoted father to 2 teenagers. You never cared for children, much less stepchildren. Buyer beware, you may resent his children and the time they take away from your relationship. You might also resent the amount of money he is paying to his ex-wife to support him, but support them. So sometimes the problem is not him at all, but you. Your motives are not so good, such as dilemma number 8. You love him, but truth be told, you wouldn't be marrying him if he wasn't also rich. Buyer beware. What are you going to do if his business sours and he no longer can buy you diamonds and fur coats? What if you actually have to go back to work? If the In the above scenario, we are not saying don't marry him. We are simply saying go into the marriage with your eyes open. Be honest with yourself. Check your motives. Rules girls don't get married at any cost. If you don't want to have problems later on, think twice about marrying for money or power, unless you can live with the downside. Think twice about marrying to get even with your ex husband who left you for a younger woman or to escape a bad home life. Think twice about marrying anyone simply to have children. And don't be lax about discussing major issues such as religion or whether to have children before you get married. While making sure you are marrying Mr. Right is not always so easy. By doing the rules, you at least weed out Mr. Wrong. For example, any man who is interested in you for just For example, any man who is interested in you just for sex, money, or convenience automatically loses interest because you are not sleeping with him right away. You are not supporting him, and you are not meeting him when and where it's convenient for him. A man has to really care about you to call you early in the week every week, make plans, pick you up, and wait until you're ready to have sex. Mr. Wrongs simply won't put up with the rigors of the rules. They move on to women without such standards. So while you're doing the rules, you should also be observing, writing, and thinking, is he the right one for me? Take an active role. Your long term happiness is definitely worth the work. So, mhm. Okay. Now, chapter 18 is called Closing the Deal, Getting Him to the Altar. It's a little longer than I want to read right now, so we'll look at chapter 19. And it's also a little long. Let me take a look in the table of contents to see which ones are um shorter. Okay, let's see. Page, 6 pages, 5 pages, 4 pages. Oh, chapter 4. Don't waste time on fantasy relationships. Okay, don't waste time on fantasy relationships is on page 26. Chapter 4. Don't waste time on fantasy relationships. If you have a good rapport with your doctor, lawyer, or accountant, you may find yourself wondering if he is interested in you romantically. You're not alone, but you may not be seeing the situation for what it is. How can you know for sure? It's simple. Has he ever asked you out? Has he ever suggested having a drink, coffee, lunch, or dinner? If the answer is no, then he's not. This may sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many women tell themselves it's romance when a man pays them the slightest attention out of professional courtesy. We wrote this chapter to smash any delusions you might have about a fantasy relationship of your own. Unless he asks to spend time with you in a non professional capacity, a relationship beyond business does not exist. And rules girls don't waste their time on non existent relationships. The fact is, when a man is interested in a woman, including a female patient or client, employer or employee, he finds some way to ask her out. He may invite her to work out at his gym, attend a fundraiser with him. He may invite her to work out at his gym, attend a fundraiser with him, or to play tennis over the weekend. He may not necessarily ask her out for Saturday night date since that might be too obvious or awkward or forward, but he'll figure out some way to see her outside the office. This behavior is different from the professional courtesy of a physician or financial advisor who might say, "Call me anytime," which women mistakenly interpret as romantic interest. Okay, let's see. We have 4 minutes and three fantasy relationships. So two. Let's go into the third one first. Fantasy relationship number 3. You think the waiter at the restaurant you go to twice a week likes you because he always remembers how you like your eggs and that you take your coffee light with two sugars. You think he's more attentive to you than other customers, refills your coffee before you ask, and always makes conversation with you. You want to let him know you're not seeing anyone seriously and would go out with him if he asked. The problem is he hasn't. What to do? The rules answer: waiters are in the service business. It's normal for a waiter to remember a regular customer's preferences. He works for tips, so it's in his interest to be friendly, make conversation, get your order right. If he liked you beyond this, however, he would suggest having drinks one night. The point bears repeating. When a man is really interested in a woman, he figures out some way to ask her out. Don't be insulted. We're not suggesting that your doctor, broker, or accountant isn't fond of you, just that it's not a rules relationship until he asks you out. Also, keep in mind that many men, including professionals, like to flirt with women. Looking at lab results, contracts, and financial statements all day can get pretty boring. So it's fun for them to make small talk, notice your figure if you're in good shape, and compliment you on your new hairstyle. After all, they are men and they do like to look at women. It's also an ego boost for them to put on the charm, knowing that it gives some of their female patients or clients high school girl crushes, but it's all quite harmless. So don't take it seriously unless he asks you on a date. We're not saying that you can't daydream about your sexy doctor or look forward to quarterly meetings with your handsome financial planner. Being a rules girl doesn't mean you can't have obsessions. It means you don't act on them. The danger lies in thinking there's a relationship there and not being open to real relationships. Women who are absorbed in fantasy relationships usually don't have real ones. Okay. Here we are. So if you can't tell him how you feel, what can you do? The rules. Look your best whenever you see him, and all look your best whenever you see him. End all phone calls and meetings first. Show no interest in him personally. Don't send him holiday cards if you mistakenly thought that would make him think about you in a different light, or invite him to your New Year's party to pave the way from a professional relationship to a social one. Don't buy him a tie for Christmas or bake him cookies for the holidays. Gifts don't make men think about women or ask them out. Try to treat him as you would an elderly or unattractive man, not the handsome hunk you think he is. Someone you wouldn't think twice about, much less bake brownies first. Doing the rules won't make him ask you out if he was never going to, but it will keep you from wasting time baking cookies and writing notes to men who aren't interested in you. You'll have more self-esteem. Of course, the best thing you can do is try to meet other men who do ask you out. Nothing replaces a fantasy relationship better than a rules one, so move on. Move on to a rules relationship. Taking the magic action is actually bringing virtue into the world. So if it's action for yourself, you are bringing virtue into the world. If it's action for other people, you are bringing. This is when it's bringing value to you, or when it's bringing value to the world. You are bringing virtue into the world. Okay? Old Kinderhook.